Hey everyone! Today on the plastic canvas we're painting the Hunters from Zombicide Invader by CMON Games. Hey everyone, Matt here from the Plastic Canvas and welcome to episode 3 of this Zombicide Invader series. And today we're painting the Hunters. These are the fast moving Xenos that you'll face in this sci-fi themed version of Zombicide. So these are the guys that can move 2 spaces instead of 1, kind of the equivalent of the runners in other Zombicide games if you're familiar with them. Now with the Hunters there are 2 different sculpts of them. Sort of just to quickly look at them, they look exactly the same, but if you do look a little bit closer, they are the opposite hand. So one of them has the left hand and right foot forward, and the other one is the opposite, right hand forward, left foot forward. So I'm painting one of each of them in this video. So these are the 2 that I'm going to be painting. So like with the workers video, which was the previous one in this series, I'm just going to be finding out in this video what the most efficient way to paint these guys is, while still keeping them at a good enough standard for them to be on the table, to look good enough to be out there. But because there are about 15 or so of these guys in the game, if I spend, say an hour on each, there's 15 hours on just the Hunters, and I don't have the time to spend, that much on each of these guys. So yeah, just looking for the way that I'm going to be painting the rest of them, so that I can keep the time down, but yeah, still keeping a good enough quality to them so that they'll look good out on the table. In the end, I get these guys painted in between about 20 and 25 minutes each, probably more like 25 minutes. I reckon I should be able to get that down more to, 20 minutes consistently for each of them, when I do all of them at the same time. And also I know exactly what I'm doing, because obviously there were a little bit of just sort of working it out with these guys, but now that I know each of those steps, yeah, I reckon about 20 minutes for each of them. So in the end, these guys aren't absolutely perfect. If these were just one-off minis in the game, there's a couple of things that I would go back and just fix up if there weren't a whole batch of them. Just little things like the way that the color of the tentacles blends back into the body color. Just little things like that that could be refined. But again, all of that would take time. And so, when these are in the middle of the table, you don't see the little imperfections in the blends. So it's just not worth going back to fix up. Yeah, it would just take too much time. Now these guys are painted in a very, very similar way to the workers. But I did do a couple of little things differently, just to help make these guys stand out a little bit from the workers, but to make it look like they are both Xenos and they're both sort of the same kind of species, I suppose. So I started with a Zenithal Prime, so making them just look like they're brighter on top than they are on the bottom, so that then when the base skin tone went down with the airbrush, those tones from the Prime came through, and that made the highlighting and shading stage easier, which I really didn't actually have to do at all, because yeah, the top already looked a bit brighter than the bottom. Then I just laid a light grey skin tone down, just as a base coat, and then I used that blue and grey mixture to start off with at the tips of the walls of the hands and the feet, to then blend up into the legs. And by having a bit of grey mixed into that blue, it helped as it feathered out to the edge of the cone of the airbrush into that grey skin tone that I had, that sort of blended out nicely. Then I just mixed up a darker blue, just to hit to the hands and the feet, just blended up the legs a little bit, just to create an extra bit of depth of colour there. And then I remixed up the original skin tone and just hit the back and the chest a little bit, just where some of that blue oversprayed a little bit more than what I wanted it to. This is a step that I changed a bit from the workers, because with the workers I did that stage with my just brush and did a bit of highlighting and that in there, but then once that Nuln Oil wash goes over the top, all those little blends and that I had with the highlights didn't really show up, so it wasn't really worth it, so I saved a bit of time by using my airbrush there. And then I wanted the focal point of these guys to be the tentacles, so yeah, hit it with a bright red first, then mixed up a slightly darker red, started at the tip and then just blended that through, and then mixed up a much darker red just for the tip, yeah, just so that there was a bit of a gradient in them, because I want that to be the focal point, something for people to look at as they look at the mini. And then yeah, then obviously that black wash went over the top just to fall into the recesses, bring everything together a little bit, and now I'm just doing the base just to make it look like a bit of a Marsy kind of surface to tie in with the outside tiles that are in the game. Now, one thing that I did do slightly differently here with the base, just to save a little bit of time, was because when I did the workers, I did like the exact same steps, painted it all the same colours and that. Then the Agrax, the brown wash, goes over it just to darken everything down, fall into the recesses a little bit. Then I did a dry brush with the Riser Rust just on the orange parts with the workers. But then what that did is, because like with the dry brush, it's a bit of a bigger brush, it kind of clipped those rocks a little bit that I'd painted brown. So then I needed to go back and just repaint those rocks a bit just to cover up the orange. So the difference here is that I didn't do a dry brush with the Riser Rust. I just used one of my more normal painting brushes, and then I just more carefully just dragged, I suppose, the brush over the orange sections, which I'm doing just here. Made sure I didn't touch any of the rocks, and then I didn't have to do that step of going back and then repainting the rocks, and that was just a way that I could save a little bit of time. And so with this last little bit here to go with the base, our two hunters are done. So thank you very much for spending some time watching me paint another video. As you can hear, my voice is still recovering from my chest infection, so sorry for putting up with that, but it is hanging in there at least enough for me to get these videos out. So I hope this video was useful for you, especially if you're going to be painting Zombicide. And yeah, you can just take some things away from this using your own painting, or at the very least you've just enjoyed watching this video. Please do leave a comment down below, something that you liked about the video, something that you think can be improved, and please do stop by the Facebook, Twitter and Instagram accounts that I have set up for this channel, especially Instagram, which is where I'm most active, putting up what I'm painting at the time. And please do like and subscribe to stay up to date with these videos as they keep coming out, both this and for other games in the future. So with all that being said, this is Matt from the Plastic Canvas signing out. Happy painting, everyone. Cheers.